Good evening to everyone. Dear faithful devotees, dear friends in the Dhamma, dear children, before starting the talk, let's observe 5 precepts. So let's say Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato. Please repeat after me. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Saranagamaṇaṃ sampunnaṃ pānātipātā veramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Adinādānā veramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā veramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā veramani sikkāpadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ sādhukaṃ surakkitaṃ kattvā appamādena sampādetabbhaṃ. Samantā cakkavālesu atrā gaccantu devatā. Saddhammaṃ munirājassa sunantu sagga mokkadaṃ. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Dānaṃ sīlaṃ ca nekkammaṃ paññā viriyena pañcamaṃ kanti sacca maditthānaṃ mettu pekkāti mādasa. As usual, today our children and youth, you have all come forward and participate in this Dhamma discussion as usual in order to learn the teachings of the Buddha. Today I have selected one of the most important and meaningful teachings in Buddhism. That is called 10 Perfections, to be conducted for the series of the talks in the future. So I am very glad to and I am very pleased to share my Dhamma knowledge with you all for you to learn some new beautiful teachings of the Buddha. And then you can apply those teachings to your life for the betterment of your life in this life and also the life after this. So therefore it is very, very important to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. So without further ado, let's talk about the main topic of the today. As you know that, you all know the importance of listening or importance of taking part in the Dhamma discussions. In the previous talks, I gave you the clear picture of the importance of listening to the talks, Dhamma talks. So I don't want to waste my time in order to explain to you again and again the importance of listening to the teachings of the Buddha. I hope you remember those rewards and those benefits of listening to the teachings of the Buddha. Anyway, before you start the Dhamma talk, before you listen to the Dhamma talk, you have to fulfill 3 steps in order to gain or in order to be benefited from the teachings of the Buddha. What are those steps that you have to remember and that you have to follow when you listen to the teachings of the Buddha? The first one is Sunatha. You have to listen to the teachings of the Buddha and you have to listen to the talk with full concentration, without letting your mind to travel from here and there. Why? What happens if you let your mind to travel from here and there? Then you will not be able to remember, or you will not be able to grasp the things that I am talking about. Therefore, it is very important for you to listen carefully and attentively without letting your mind to travel from here and there. Just like a monkey, happy monkey. What does happy monkey do? He usually jumps from one branch to another looking for food, right? That is the happiness of the monkey. But you should not let your mind to be like that, right? Because if your mind is like that, you will not be able to remember, or you will not be able to gain the benefits of the listening to the teachings of the Buddha. Therefore, my dear children, the first step that you need to complete, that you need to fulfill is that Sunatha. You have to listen carefully. And the next step is that you need to fulfill is that Dhareta. Then what do you have to do? You have to remember the teachings of the Buddha which I am talking in the talk. How do you remember? To remember very well, you need to listen attentively with full concentration. Perhaps you will not be able to remember all the points that I am talking in the talk, in the Dhamma discussions. So you have to remember, at least you have to remember, you have to put some effort to remember some main points of the talk, right? So I don't ask you to remember each and every words that I am talking here, but at least please try to remember some of the main points of the talk today. And the last step that you need to fulfill is that Charata, Sunatha, Dhareta, and Charata. That is the most important part of the listening to the talk. That is the most important, crucial things that you need to do. But sadly say it is less active among many people. Why? In the modern time, you may see that, you may have seen many people, they go to temple and they listen many talks on YouTube and on TV and every day and every single moment. But sadly, they don't remember them and they don't put them into practice. Sometimes they may remember the teachings of the Buddha, but they do not put them into practice. Do you think that is useful? No, that is useless. As long as you remember many teachings, but if you do not put them into practice, that is useless. Then you have to listen carefully, you have to remember, then you have to put them into practice. That is how you should, that should be the main purpose of listening the teachings of the Buddha. Then that is how you will be able to taste the real taste of the teachings of the Buddha. Right? So therefore, what you need to do is that you need to listen carefully, you need to remember some main points of the talk, and then you need to put them into practice. Then you will be able to gain the real benefits of the teachings of the Buddha. Just like this, let's say if you have some sicknesses, then what do? You usually go to see the doctor, right? So when you see the doctor, what does doctor do? Doctor usually will prescribe and give you some medicines, right? So you will bring those medicine back home, and then you may put them in your drawer or somewhere else without taking them accordingly. So will you be able to recover from the sicknesses? Will you be able to get over from the sicknesses? Indeed, no, right? So in the same way, if you listen to the teachings of the Buddha, and if you remember some of them, but if you do not put them into practice, then that is useless. So therefore, my dear children, what you need to do is listen carefully, remember very well, and most importantly, put them into practice. That is how you should do. And then you will be able to gain the real benefits of the teachings of the Buddha. With that in mind, let's talk about the main topics of the Dhamma discussions today. So, you all know that I am going to talk about 10 perfections. 10 perfections we call Dasa Paramita in Pali, 10 perfections in English. So that is what I just, at the beginning of the talk, I quoted one of the Pali stanzas that talk about the 10 perfections. So, before I talk in details about perfections, I have narrated, I have organized, I have arranged some beautiful questions for you to think and for you to answer and for you to remember and for you to think about. So what are the questions that I have for you? Children, the first questions that I have for you is, what are the paramitas? What are the paramitas? That is the first question. Please remember it, okay? Later, I am going to answer to these all questions, and you also have to answer to these all questions. So therefore, please remember. First question is, what are the paramitas? And the second one is, what do we mean by paramitas? What is the meaning of paramita? And how do we understand the meaning of paramita? So that is the second question. The third question that I have for you is, why are they so important to our life? And why are they so important in Buddhism? So that is the third question. The fourth one I have for you is, who should practice these paramita in particularly? Right? In a specific way, who should practice this paramita? And the fifth question is that, what are the levels of paramita? How many levels are there? And what kind of levels are there? So that is the fifth questions that I have. The sixth one, how our Lord Buddha, Gautama Buddha, practiced these 10 perfections, Dasa Paramita. So we are going to learn about beautiful stories of the Lord Buddha and beautiful dedications of the Lord Buddha, how he practiced these paramitas in greater levels. So we are going to learn about, we are going to answer to these questions later on. Please remember them. And the last question that I have for you is that, how we should practice paramita. This is good for you children, right? So Lord Buddha, he practiced these 10 perfections, Dasa Paramita, and then the last question is the most effective and most important one to your life, and how you should practice it. How you should practice these paramita in our daily life. That is the most important and effective part of this talk. And that is what I want to convey to you to think about, and how we should practice this paramita. So those are the 7 main questions that I have for you. Please, let's answer. Let me answer to these 7 questions in details for you to understand very well. So, what are the paramitas? Children, do you know what the paramitas are? Have you learned about these paramitas before? Have you heard about these paramitas before? Has anyone told you about these paramitas? And have you got any news or any ideas about these paramitas? I guess you may have. I think you may have. I think now all the children, I think you are answering to these questions, right? So you may have heard. Yeah, good, right. So, how many paramitas are there then? Can you tell me? Yes, you are right. There are 10 perfections, 10 paramita. That's why we call them Dasa Paramita. According to Theravada Buddhism, there are 10 perfections, Dasa Paramita. There are 10 things, 10 perfections, or 10 completeness according to Theravada Buddhism. Do you know what Theravada Buddhism is? Right? Theravada Buddhism is the Buddhism that has, which is in Sri Lanka, in Thailand, Laos, Burma, and all those countries, they have Theravada Buddhism. According to Mahayana Buddhism, the Mahayana Buddhism which is in Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam. So in those countries, they have mainly based on Mahayana Buddhism. So according to Mahayana Buddhism, they have 6 types of paramitas. But according to Theravada Buddhism, the Buddhism that I follow, or lineage that I follow, we have 10 perfections. So I am not going to talk about all the 10 perfections today, but only one perfection. We are going to talk about the perfection in charity, giving. And the other 9 will be discussed in the future sermons. So listen carefully. This is very interesting and this is very important talk. So, what are the paramitas? The first one is Dana Parami, Dana Paramita, perfection in charity or giving. The second one is Sila Paramita, perfection in morality. The third one is Nekkamma Paramita, the perfection in renunciation. The fourth one is Prajna Paramita, perfection in wisdom. The fifth one is Virya Paramita, the perfection in effort. The sixth one is Kanti Paramita, the perfection in patience. The seventh one is Satya Paramita, the perfection in truthfulness. The eighth one is Aditthana Paramita, perfection in resolution or determination. The ninth one is Metta Paramita, the perfection in loving kindness. And the last one is Upekkha Paramita, the perfection in equanimity. So these are the 10 perfections. So now you know what the paramitas are, right? So now you have clear picture according to Theravada Buddhism. There are 10. So now first one is Dana Paramita. So we remember and we know the paramitas. So I answered to the first question, right? So let's move on to the second question then. What do we mean by paramitas? What do you mean by children? Can you tell me, can you explain to me, what do you mean by paramitas? According to Pali language, parami is a Pali word. It means completeness or perfections or highest state. What do you mean by paramita? What do you mean by paramitas? Parami means perfections or completeness or highest state. So, perfections are wholesome qualities and wholesome virtues to be developed and wholesome actions to be cultivated and developed and to be performed. Right? Therefore, these perfections are very important. Why? Because these perfections are to be practiced in order to become an enlightened person, in order to release from the suffering of world. So, paramitas are very helpful for a person to become an enlightened person in order to release from this sansaric life. So that is why paramitas are very important. Now you know that paramita means perfections and completeness, and you know why they are so good to our life. So the third question, why are they so important? Why do you think they are important? Can you tell me, children? I think you know very well. Why are they so important to our life? Paramis are very important to our life because if anybody has wish, if anybody wants to become an enlightened person in the future, then that person has to be completed these 10 perfections in order to gain enlightenment. Right? If anybody wants to become a Buddha, or if anybody wants to become an Arahant, or if anybody wants to become a Pacheka Buddha, private Buddha, then that person has to that person has to fulfill these 10 perfections in order to become an enlightened being. Not only that, forget about becoming an enlightened person. What about your future life? If you practice these 10 perfections, especially practice in generosity, perfection in generosity. If you practice generosity, what will happen to you? You may have a good life in the future. You may have a fortunate birth in the future. Right? Therefore, perfections are very helpful for you to become an enlightened person, as well as perfections are very helpful for you to practice in order to gain a good birth in the future. Therefore, they are very, very useful and helpful. You know that our Lord Buddha, Sambuddha, Gautama Buddha, he has completed these 10 perfections in different levels, in 3 major levels, in order to become Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened one. Right? If the Lord Buddha had not completed these 10 perfections, he would not have been able to become a Buddha or Samma Sambuddha. He would not be able to become a Samma Sambuddha, or enlightened one, or perfected one, or perfect one. Therefore, it is very important for ordinary people and also for dedicated people to become enlightened being, or to have a fortunate birth or happy birth in the future, and to stop being born in purgatory or lawful states. Right? So these are the 10 things that helpful for you to have a good birth in this world and also after this world, if you do not wish to become an enlightened person. But if you want to become an enlightened person, then you also had to complete these 10 perfections in a greater levels. I will explain to you one by one later. So therefore, in Buddhism, in Theravada Buddhism, these 10 perfections are very crucial, very important, and very beneficial for each and every people to practice. Right? So I answer to you third questions. Why are they so important? Let's move on to the fourth one. Who should practice this paramita in particularly? Who should? Who do you think? Who do you think, children? Who should practice this paramita? Actually, paramitas can be practiced by anyone, any person from any religious background. That person does not have to be a Buddhist. That person does not have to be a Christian. That person does not have to be Muslim. That person does not have to be whatever religion. But that person can practice these 10 perfections without concerning about their religion. So, if anybody has wish to become the enlightened person, or if anybody wants to have a fortunate birth in the future, that person also can practice these 10 perfections. Right? So therefore, they are very important to our lives. Have you heard about the Bodhisattva? Who are the Bodhisattvas? Can anyone tell me who are the Bodhisattvas? Can anyone tell me who the Bodhisattvas are? They are the people, they are the living beings who aspires aspire to become Buddhas or enlightened one in the future. Then the Bodhisattvas have to complete these 10 perfections in a different levels according to their capacity of understanding in order to fulfill these 10 perfections. Children, according to Theravada Buddhism, there are 3 types of paths or yanas or vehicles that one person can reach or that one person can gain enlightenment following any of these paths. Actually, 3 ways, we can say 3 ways. It's easy for you to understand. There are 3 ways. For example, if you want to go to city of Melbourne, how many paths, how many ways to go? You can use EasyLink to go directly, and you can use another Princess Highway, as I remember, or maybe you can use another path to go to the city. But your main purpose is going to the city, right? Even though you have different paths to go, different ways to go, your main goal, your main purpose is to go to the city. In the same way, according to Theravada Buddhism, to become an enlightened person, whether you want to be a Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened one, or Pacceka Buddha, private Buddha, or silent Buddha, or if you want to be an enlightened being, Arahant, then you had to follow, you had to complete, you had to follow these 10 perfections. So let's talk about in details about these 3 ways, 3 paths, 3 roads. Okay. So first one is Samma Sambuddha. Can anyone tell me who is our Samma Sambuddha at the moment, at this world? Who is that Samma Sambuddha in this present world? In this present world, the Samma Sambuddha is our Lord Gautama Buddha, the Supreme Enlightened One, Gautama Buddha. So, the appearance of Samma Sambuddha in this world is very, very rare compared to other 3 paths like private Buddha, Pacceka Buddha, or Arahant, the Enlightened One. It is extremely difficult for Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened person to be appeared in this world, whereas Pacceka Buddhas and other enlightened beings may appear in many times. Only Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened being or fully enlightened Buddha will appear only once in a specific time, not every time like other enlightened beings, right? The Samma Sambuddha, if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha, that person has to make a firm mental resolution and mental determination, and also he should make verbal expressions in the presence of the Buddha, right? So if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha, first you must have a strong determination, a strong resolution, mental cultivation, mental development, and mental resolution, and also you should make verbal expressions in the presence of the Samma Sambuddha, right? So there must be a Samma Sambuddha, and then that person, if somebody wants to become a Samma Sambuddha, that person need to meet that previous Samma Sambuddha and should get proclamation from that Buddha and should get nomination. The previous Buddha should nominate this person will become future enlightened Buddha. So therefore that person need to get nomination or proclamation from the previous Samma Sambuddha. Then having got the proclamation or nomination from the previous Buddha, that person become a Bodhisattva. And from that onwards, that person start completing these wholesome activities, these 10 perfections in a greater level, until he is ready to become a fully enlightened Buddha, Samma Sambuddha. It is not easy. How many years? Many thousand years that person has to complete these paramitas into 3 different levels until he is ready to become a Samma Sambuddha. That's why I said that at the beginning, the appearance of the fully enlightened Buddha in this world is definitely extremely rare occurrence. Right? So many people do not have such kind of dedication and such kind of effort, such kind of mental resolution to become Samma Sambuddha, because it's very difficult. Right? That is the one path. The second path is Pacceka Buddha, the silent Buddha. This path, little bit, Pacceka Buddha is the one who attains enlightenment without the help of other person, without outside help. He can gain his enlightenment without the help of others. He does not need some helps from outside world. He can just practice these 10 perfections, and his wish to be a private Buddha, then he can practice these 10 perfections, and then he can become a Pacceka Buddha. You know, children, Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened one, may not be able to appear in many times of the year, but Pacceka Buddha may not be appeared in the same dispensation of the Samma Sambuddha. Right? When the Samma Sambuddha appears into this world, the Pacceka Buddha or private Buddhas may not appear in this world or in that Samma Sambuddha's dispensation. But even though becoming a Samma Sambuddha is very extremely rare opportunity or rare occurrence, but Pacceka Buddha, private Buddhas, can appear many times in the world. Many times they can appear. And the last one is, third path is enlightened one, Arahant. This is quite easy one. This is quite easy for everyone. This is open for both men and women. If they want to become an enlightened person, they can practice these 10 perfections, and at the end they can be just ordinary enlightened person. It doesn't mean that ordinary means like us, but they have eradicated what they have to eradicate, and they have completed what they have to be completed, and they have understood what they have to be understood. Right? Therefore, they are not simple beings like us. They are enlightened beings, and they are worthy of receiving reverence, and they are worthy of receiving gifts from the devotees. And also, if you want to become an enlightened person, you should get definite advice and guidance from the Lord Buddha or from Samma Sambuddha. Then you will be able to become a Samma Sambuddha. Right? Then you will be able to become an enlightened person. Right? Therefore, you need to get advice from the Samma Sambuddha, then you can become an enlightened person. Right? So, it is easy for you. You do not have to put lots of effort, or you do not have to complete these 10 perfections in many, many years if you just want to become an enlightened person. I mean, Arahant person. Right? That is the 3 paths that you need to go through. This is the 3 paths or 3 yanas or 3 vehicles that you need to go through. Whether it is a BMW vehicle, or whether it's a Mercedes-Benz vehicle, or whether it's just a Honda car. Right? It's a normal general car. Your goal, your purpose should be enlightenment. It doesn't matter which vehicle you are taking to go to that destination of enlightenment. Right? So therefore, children, these are the 3 paths, 3 vehicles that you need to select one. Whether you want to become Samma Sambuddha or private Buddha or just an enlightened person. It's up to you. Right? So now I answer to the third question. Who should practice these paramitas in particularly, right? So the next question is, what are the levels of paramitas? Children, do you know? There are 3 levels of these paramitas. right? Even though these three levels of perfections in relation to the Dana Paramita, it can be divided like in this way: ordinary perfections, or Chula Parami, or simple Parami, or minor Parami, or superior perfections, Upaparami, and also supreme perfections, Paramatta Parami. In this way, these 10 perfections can be divided into these three levels. And then, for example, if you take Dana Paramita, then you can divide Dana Paramita into three different levels. First one, Dana Paramita, that means Dana Paramita, minor perfection in giving, or simple perfection in giving. The second one is Upaparamita, Dana Upaparamita, the superior level in perfection of giving. And the third one is Upaparamita. The third one is Paramatta Paramita. The last one is the highest one, the supreme one, supreme perfection in charity, perfection in giving. So in this way, each of these 10 perfections can be divided into three levels, and then totally they become 30 perfections, right? So these 30 perfections you need to complete. But generally, basically there are 10, but if you divide these 10 into three levels, they become 30, right? So I will explain to you these 30, who should practice these 30 perfections, and who should practice 20 perfections, and who should practice 10 perfections later on. So these are the levels, these are the three levels of the Saparamita, right? What is the first one? These ordinary perfections, like we can call ordinary perfection, Parami. The second level is Upaparami, the superior perfections, not supreme, sorry. The second one is superior perfections, Dana Upaparami. The third one is supreme perfections, highest perfections. That means Paramatta Parami. So these are the three levels, my dear children. Please remember them, okay? So what do you mean by, let's talk about in relation to the practice of generosity, Dana Paramita. We just talk about first one, okay? So in terms of talking about the ordinary perfections, Paramita, Chula Paramita, or general perfections, that means donating material things. Material things, what do you mean by material things? Whatever things that you have, whatever things that you possess, right? Whatever things that you have with you, you can donate. So they comes to the category of Dana Paramita. That means the ordinary level, right? And this level is very easy for everyone to practice. This is not so difficult, right? Even children, you can practice this level. This is not a very difficult level, and this is not a very advanced level. You can practice this, right? So let's say like this. If you have lots of properties, if you are very rich, and if you have lots of clothes, if you have lots of electronic gadgets or playing toys, what do you need to do? You should donate them. You should give them away for the needy people, needy person, right? And if you have a generous mind, and then when you see the person who is in unfortunate circumstance or unfortunate situations, and if you see a poor person, and if you see a very innocent person, then you have the kind mind, generous mind to donate the things, right? So, for example, when you see some children, those who do not have proper clothes to wear, then if you have extra clothes, don't put them into rubbish or don't put them in the dustbin. You can donate them, right? And if you see some children who do not have proper food to eat, don't waste food. I see many people in this world, they waste their food. They do not finish their food. They order and order, even unnecessarily. But they do not eat them, they do not consume them as they need. They just buy, they just order, and they just request, maybe they just eat little portion of that food, but then destroy or waste. And they put them into bins. Don't do that. There are so many children. When you see some parts of Africa, like Somalia, Sudan, can you see the life conditions of that kind of people? Could you imagine, can you imagine life conditions of those innocent people? They die every day in hunger. They die every day without having proper food, and water to drink. Therefore, if you can save some food, and if you stop wasting some food, actually, in some way, in some forms, in some ways, actually, that kind of saving will be benefited for anyone, actually. Therefore, please do not waste them. Just give away. If you do not have a person to give away, don't waste. Just consume only your needs. Right? Don't overconsume. Stop overconsumption. Right? So, and also, if you see some beggars, if you see the homeless people who do not have lodging to dwell in, please try to help them. Please, if I don't ask you to build a very big house for them. I don't ask you to buy a very big land for them. If you can do so, that would be fantastic, that would be great. But I don't ask you to do, but at least you can donate $1 single, $1 single rupee, right? $10, $5, right? In this way, it will be benefited. It will be useful for many people in this world, my dear children. Therefore, please practice this level of paramita. This level of paramita is very easy for you to practice, right? Chula paramita, perfection, minor perfections, right? I know nowadays you do that, even though many children come to temple sometimes during the Sunday school times. I see many of our Sunday school children, they help their children, they help their friends, they help giving food. I know you are very charitable people. You are very good in giving, and you are very generous and kind. And there are so many people very helpful during this pandemic time, during this hard time in this world. There are so many, so kind, so generous well-wishers and supporters in this world, even in my life. I have experienced many people who contributed a lot to the temple, to monks personally and publicly for their sake, for their betterment, for the sake of their life. In that way, they are very good. You can practice this Chula Parami, minor level of perfections. Then you are the disciple of the Buddha, and you are fulfilling the first level of perfection, Dana Parami. When it comes to the second level, superior perfections, Upaparami. What do you mean by Upaparami? Upaparami means you can donate your body parts, right? Body parts like you can donate your hair, you can donate your lungs, you can donate your eyes, you can donate your nails, whatever things. I see some people, they donate kidneys, their kidneys, right? It's very typical, I know, but some people, they do that. They are very generous. They can donate their body, even their body parts, for the sake of other people, for the betterment of other people. Right? So this kind of level, this second level is still a little bit able to practice. It is still flexible for you to practice, and it is easy for you to practice as well. I see in Australia, I have seen some young children, when they have long hair, especially girls, I think, when they have long hair, they are willing to donate their hairs for the cancer patients, for the cancer hospitals, right? Not only that, they can donate their blood as well, right? I have seen many people, they donate their bloods every month, every week. Every week, I have seen in this temple, one person, he donates blood every week. So let's see how generous such kind of people, right? Therefore, this kind of level also easy for you to practice. You can donate your belongings like body parts. I don't ask you to donate internal body parts, but outside, like if you have long hair, don't attach to your long hair, just donate them. The hair will grow back again. Just donate. When you donate these kind of body parts, actually you are fulfilling the second level of perfections, upaparamita, dana upaparamita, in relations to the giving, practice of generosity. The next level is Paramita paramita, the highest level or superior level of perfections. This is the most difficult one, and this is not easy for you to practice. Why? Because in this level, the person is ready to give up, ready to donate even his life for the sake of other person, right? For example, I want to donate my complete life, my whole life for the betterment of someone, for the sake of someone. So when you can do that, you are fulfilling the third level of perfections, Paramita paramita parami, in terms of charity, practicing generosity. I know this is very difficult, even myself, even for yourself, it is very difficult. But what I want to tell is that not general person can practice this level. Only well-dedicated and well-trained person can practice like this. For example, if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha, you can practice, right? I will give you a very good example later on. So, therefore, my dear children, what you need to do is that please do what you can do. Don't need to go to the highest level because you know that you can't do that. You are not allowed to do that. Unless if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha. But you can practice in normal level, ordinary level, or chula, or minor paramita, or minor perfections. And the second one is upaparamita, the superior perfections. Right? So where you can practice these levels. So, I give you a very good example, okay? And I want to explain to you again. If somebody wants to become a Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened one, that person has to complete these 30 perfections. Do you know 30 perfections, right? For example, if you take Dana Paramita, the perfection in charity, it's become to 3 levels, right? It becomes into 3 levels. It becomes in 3 levels like Upaparamita, Dana Paramita, Dana Upaparamita, Dana Paramata Paramita, 3 levels. So, when these 10 perfections are divided into 3 levels, then they become 30. So, if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha, fully enlightened one, that person has to complete these 30 perfections. Many years. The years are incalculable, cannot be measured. That's why it's very difficult and very rare to become a Samma Sambuddha. That person has to complete these 3 levels into greater level, starting from the minor level up to the highest level, if you want to become a Samma Sambuddha. And if you want to become a private Buddha or silent Buddha, right, then that person may not have to complete 30 perfections, but that person has to complete only 20. That means the ordinary level of perfections and the superior level of perfections. He does not have to go to the supreme level of perfections. So, it is quite easy compared to the first person who wants to become a Samma Sambuddha. If you want to become a Pratyeka Buddha or private Buddha, that person has to complete only 20 levels. And the duration may not be equal to the Samma Sambuddha. That person has to complete many years, but not as same as Samma Sambuddha. And the last one, if you want to become an enlightened person, that person has only complete. How many? What's the good news? Good news is that that person has only complete 10 perfections. That person does not have to go to superior level and the supreme level of perfections. That person only has to complete ordinary perfection and ordinary level of perfections. That is why it is very easy for you to practice. So therefore, please start from now. You can practice giving generosity, the Paramita of Dana. You can practice Dana Paramita, perfection in giving in ordinary level. Then at the end, you can be an enlightened person. To become an enlightened person, you have to complete only 10 perfection in ordinary level, but not many years. You may have many years to complete. You may have to complete many years, but not like Pratyeka Buddha and Samma Sambuddha. The degree of level of perfections may lesser than Samma Sambuddha and Pratyeka Buddha. That's why it's very important. So let's talk about how our Lord Buddha practiced these 10 perfections. Okay, you may have about during the dispensation of Buddha Dipankara. Have you heard about the Buddha Dipankara? The Dipankara Buddha, previous one of the Buddhas, before our Gautama Buddha appeared into this world, he became a Sumedha, ascetic Sumedha. So he met this Buddha. Who met? Buddha Dipankara. Buddha Dipankara is the Lord Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, whom that our Gautama Buddha took vows to become a fully enlightened one in the future. So our Sumedha ascetic, before he became a Buddha, Gautama Buddha, he met this Samma Sambuddha Dipankara, fully enlightened Dipankara, and he got assurance to become a fully enlightened one in the future. And then Dipankara, Lord Buddha, he proclaimed, he declared, this Sumedha, ascetic Sumedha, will be a future Samma Sambuddha named as Gautama in the future. And he declared that, declared publicly for people to understand. So having got that assurance, having got that proclamation, having got that nomination from the Dipankara Samma Sambuddha, he became ascetic Sumedha. Having become an ascetic Sumedha, he started completing and he started continuing these virtuous qualities fulfilling. Right? There's a very good incident I want to tell you, even though it takes some time. I want to tell you, it's a very nice one. Children, you know that the ascetic Sumedha was a generous person. He was born to a rich family. But when he was a young boy, his parents died at his early ages. Then this Dipankara was unhappy. Ascetic Dipankara was unhappy with his properties and his life. Why? Even though their parents had lots of properties, when they died, they could not bring any single things with them. Right? Having realized that, he fed up with all those material things. Then what he did was that he called all the people to come to his house, and he distributed, and he donated all his belongings, even very luxurious and very valuable things. And then what he did was that he went to the jungle and he became ascetic. He practiced meditation, and he practiced very good meditation techniques, and finally he got some supernatural powers and some psychic powers. One day, while he was traveling on the sky using his supernatural power, he came to see, he came to know, and he encountered some group of people who were gathered somewhere and doing some activities. And then he approached to that place and asked, what are you doing, people in there? And then those people say, don't you know that? Our Samma Sambuddha Dipankara, together with other enlightened monks, come to visit our city. They are coming, they are on their ways today. So we are quickly arrange this path, this place for Samma Dipankara Buddha and his enlightened beings. So he was rejoiced having heard about these news, and then he kindly requested them to give him some room, space, in order to arrange that place for arrange the path for Samma Sambuddha, Dipankara Sambuddha and other people, other monks to come in. Then what he did was that he quickly arranged that path, right? He got a muddy place, muddy path. Actually, he could use his psychic power in order to arrange that path, but he did not use his psychic power. What he did was that he used his own effort. He used his own effort in order to arrange that path. Finally, he could not complete the path before the Dipankara Buddha approached to that place. Then what he did was that he laid down on that muddy path, and then he asked all the Buddha, Samma Sambuddha Dipankara and other enlightened monks to step on his back in order to cross that path. And then whenever the Dipankara Buddha saw this incident, this situation, he knew that, he proclaimed that, he told and he revealed that this person, this ascetic Sumedha will be the future Samma Sambuddha Gautama Buddha in the future, named as Gautama Buddha in the future dispensation. So that is how our Lord Buddha got his assurance to become Samma Sambuddha under the guidance of Dipankara Samma Sambuddha. From that onwards, Gautama Buddha, ascetic Sumedha, he started continuing these 10 perfections in these 3 levels. Right? You may have heard about the lots of Jataka stories, right, children? According to Jataka book, there are so many beautiful Jataka stories. I think there are 550 or 547 Jataka stories are there. All those Jataka stories represent the life stories of the Gautama Buddha or ascetic Sumedha who complete his Bodhisattva life, fulfilling these 10 perfections in different levels, according to these 3 levels, based on these 3 levels, right? If you happen to read Jataka stories, when you read it, now you know this Jataka story when our Bodhisattva Sumedha, before becoming a fully enlightened Gautama Buddha, he completed his Dasa Paramita, one of Paramitas in this Jataka story. You may have such kind of understanding when you read Jataka story. This is all about the background information about 10 perfections. Now let's talk about the main topic. What is that? Dana Paramita. Out of these 10 perfections, I am going to talk a little bit about 10 perfections. How our Lord Buddha, how our Gautama Buddha, he practiced these Dana Paramita in order to become a fully enlightened one. If Lord Buddha did not complete these 10 perfections, you will not be children. You would not be able to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. And your parents may not be able to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. And you may not be able to have temples in Australia, and you may not be able to cultivate wholesome qualities in you if the Lord Buddha had not completed these levels. Right? Therefore, it is very, very important. Very, very important, the dedication of our Gautama Buddha. Let's talk about how Lord Buddha practiced this generosity, Dana Paramita. You know that first the Bodhisattva fulfilled perfection, generosity in a minor level or minor perfections, Paramita. by giving all his belongings, all his properties. He donated animate and inanimate, all belongings for the sake of other people. When he donated all these, when he donated all those things, his main purpose was not to gain lesser or not to gain pleasurable things, or not to gain, worldly pleasure, not to give some commonly pleasure, but in order to become Samma Sambuddha. Right? He practiced this generosity to gain enlightenment, but not to gain worldly pleasure. That is how important, right? That is how important the Lord Buddha's dedication. That is why it's very important. There is a very good story. If you want to read, or if I tell you to understand this level, you may have heard about the Vesantara Jataka, right? Vesantara, the king Vesantara, he donated his animate and inanimate all his belongings. He donated his properties. When he was King Vesantara, he donated his property, he donated his wealth, he donated his valuable, white elephant, right? White elephant is the greatest property that one king may have, right? Raja Chakravarti. So he donated all those properties for the sake of other people. Having offered those things, he did not wish to gain worldly pleasure, but to get enlightenment. Puli Samma Sambuddha. So, Vesantara king, he donated his own child. He donated his own children. He donated his wife as well for the Brahma. Right? So, in that way, he complete this level of Paramita in a minor level by giving all those properties and belongings for the sake of people. You can read some other Jataka stories if you wish to get more understanding about how Lord Buddha practiced this generosity. Some of the Jataka stories are Visaya Jataka. It is number 336 of the Jataka book. If you go to Jataka book, directly go to number 336 Jataka, then you can read it. It's called Visaya Jataka. And you can also read Akirti Jataka. It is also called Akirti Jataka. It's a 472 Jataka story. And also you can read Sankha Jataka. It is 431 Jataka story of the Jataka book. Also you can read Nimi Jataka. It is another Jataka story you can read. It is the fourth Jataka story of the Jataka book. So, that is how Lord Buddha practiced this ordinary level of perfection. Let's move on to the superior perfections of level. How Lord Buddha practiced this superior level, right? Upaparami, in terms of practice of generosity. The Lord Buddha donated his body parts in many years. He donated his lungs, he donated his hair, he donated his neck, he donated his heads, he donated his eyes, he donated all single parts of his body for the sake of all the beings, completing the level of superior perfections. You know that there's a very good story if you want to read. It is a story of King Sivi, the Sivi Jataka. King Sivi was a Bodhisattva, our Bodhisattva. He was become King Sivi, and he was very earnest king of giving charity or practicing generosity in a superior perfection, in a superior level. And one day, Sakka, who is the Sakka? Sakka is the leader of Deva world, right? Deva world, the leader of the Deva world is Sakka. He wanted to test, he wanted to investigate whether this Bodhisattva or King Sivi is really practicing, he really practices this superior level of perfections. Then he disguised in the form of blind Brahmin and approached to King Sivi, Bodhisattva Sivi, and requested his eyes for him, for the blind Brahma. Then what he did, the King Sivi, without hesitation, without thinking again and again, he straight away donated. He took out his eyes and he donated. This is how, what I want to tell is that this is how our Lord Buddha, before becoming Samma Sambuddha, how he practiced the superior level of perfection of giving, right? So that's why, children, you can also practice this level, as I explained before. And there are also some of the beautiful stories you can also read. You can read Chulla Pantaka Jataka and also Chaddhancha Jataka. If you go to Jataka story book, it is 188. Chulla Paduma Jataka, and also Chaddhancha Jataka, 514 Jataka of the Jataka book. You can read that. Then you may have a clear picture of how Lord Buddha practiced superior level of Paramita. And also supreme level of Paramita. How Lord Buddha practiced supreme level of Paramita. He donated his complete whole life for the benefit of many people in many years. And also, there are lots of beautiful stories, but do not have time to read all those stories for you. But you can go to internet or you can go to Google. You ask the Google uncle. You just type Yasa Jataka Katha. It is 308 Jataka story. And you can read Nigrodha Miga Jataka. It's a 440 fifth Jataka story of the Jataka book. And also you can read Maha Kapi Jataka. It is 407 Jataka story of the Jataka book. And also Jayadisa Jataka. It is 513 Jataka story. You can Google them and you can just type the name of the Jataka story. You can read all those stories. And then you can understand how Lord Buddha practiced these 10 Dana Paramita in 3 levels, right? Parami, Upaparami, and Paramatta Parami. Ordinary level, superior level, and supreme level. So, by practicing these 3 levels into greater levels in many years, what was the Buddha's wish? What was the Gautama Buddha's wish? His wish was to become fully enlightened Buddha in the future. See how great that being, that human being was, right? You should at least try to learn and try to put these practice, try to learn these beautiful teachings of the Buddha as a mark of respect, as a mark of great respect to our dedicated Lord Buddha, right? So, last part of our presentation or last part of our talk is, last questions is that how we should practice this generosity. Children, how do you apply these 10 perfections into your life? And how do you practice generosity in a level of ordinary or in a level of superior level, right? You can donate material things to venerable monks and nuns, right? Like your parents do. Your parents invite venerable monks to come to your house and they offer dana, they offer other requisites, they offer other important things for the well-being of monks, right? By offering, you can practice the level of ordinary level of perfection, generosity, right? Don't stop from there. Apart from material things, what else you can donate? Can you tell me what else you can donate? You can donate other gifts such as time. You can donate time, right? You can donate your time to your parents, right? When they want your help, whatever age that you are in at the moment. So whenever they need your help, you can give your time. You can donate your time for your parents, right? So you can donate your times for any person who needs, right? And also you can donate attention. When your parents ask you something, don't pretend that you don't hear that. Don't pretend that you did not hear that. You can be very attentive and you can donate your attention. When they ask you to do something, please listen to them. Please go to their attention and provide and donate your attention to your grandparents and your parents and monks and any elder person who talk to you or who address you. And also you can donate listening, right? How you donate your listening? When your parents ask you to do something, when your parents ask you not to do these types of things, but to do that types of things, please listen to them. If they ask you, do not associate unwanted people, do not associate bad people, then listen to them, right? And if they ask you to don't play games so much time, and if they ask you to don't spend a lot of time playing computers or computer games, just listen to them. This is how you donate your listening to your parents, all right? And also you can donate care. How can you donate your caregiving? When your parents are old and when your parents are sick, when your parents need your help, you can provide, you can donate your care, right? When they become old people and when they become helpless people, do not neglect them. Do not abandon them. Please be with them and please provide care to your parents. This is how you practice generosity, right? And also you should donate respect. This is most important. I know some young children, they do not have any form of respect to their parents. For example, I can give you a very good example. When their parents prepare some special food, like rice or something else, and their mother or father puts the small portion of food onto the plates and then ask your children to come, or sometimes they bring the food to their children's room and then ask them to eat, then how they react? How children react? I don't like this food. I am fed up of eating this food. I don't need this kind of food. And I don't ask you to prepare this kind of food for me. They say like this kind of disrespectful words to their children. This is not your practice generosity. So you should not do and you should not act in that way. You should respect, you should donate your respect to your parents. Without your parents, you will not be able to come into this world. Without your parents, you will not be able to come into Australia to study such a beautiful country and study in such a beautiful schools. All these because of the great dedication of your parents. So therefore, please donate your respect to them. And also you can donate your knowledge, skills, right? Not everybody has great skills. Not everybody has great knowledge, right? Even sometimes I do not have good skills. So if you have some good skills, you can give them to me. You can teach me. And I don't have vast knowledge of everything in this world. I am still learning. So sometimes you know better than me in some particular subjects. So you can give that knowledge to someone. That is also kind of donating things, right? And also you can donate kindness, right? You can donate kindness to animals. You can donate kindness to all human beings, all sentient beings in this world. And also, you can donate sympathy. These are the very important techniques or things, apart from material things, that you can practice as a practice of generosity. So, I want you to practice these 10 perfections. I want you to practice this generosity of giving, generosity, perfection in giving in different levels. I don't ask you to practice in 3 levels, at least if you can practice ordinary level, that would be good enough. So this is all about perfections for today. I think we have taken more 15 minutes, I think. It's supposed to stop for 6:30. But when I talk this kind of topic, my dear children, we have lots of things to talk. And we have lots of things to tell you. But even though time shortage, time limitation, I had to narrow it down up to this level. So we have talked about perfections today. 10 perfections, that's a Paramita. And also we talk about one paramita, 1 perfections out of 10. So you still have 9 perfections to be conducted, to be talked about. So in the future discussions will be based on these 10 perfections. So don't miss, okay? Don't miss any of the talks. Just be with us. Just learn these 10 perfections and try to be single. Try to be enlightened person in the future. And try to have a good birth in the future. So I wish you all the best and good luck. And I hope to see you again in the future. In the next month we have another Dhamma talk, our monthly Dhamma talk. And I wish you all the best, good luck. And in general, I want to wish the people who have contributed in many ways for the success of this Dhamma talk. I think some families, they have come forward and sponsored for this Dhamma talk. I wish them all best, and they may have some good wishes in their mind, and they may have good ideas and wishes in their mind by taking part of this, by sponsoring this Dhamma talk. So I wish them all, may their all wishes and expectations come true. May their lives be well and happy. May they be blessed with triple gems always. And may their children, may their well-wishers, may their family members, may their parents and grandparents all be well and happy. May they be able to find good birth in this world and fortunate birth in this world. May no harm come to them. May no any difficulties come to them. May all of them be able to enjoy their life happily and peacefully in this world. And also those people who contribute for the success of this Dhamma talk be well and happy, especially our committee members and also IT members. I wish them all the best and all the success. May all of them be well and happy. May they be able to associate good friends, spiritual friends throughout their sansaric life. And finally, may they be able to overcome all the sicknesses, especially from COVID-19. May they be able to have a good life and peaceful life. At the end, may all of them be able to attain final goal of Nibbana. Wishing that we share merits with divine beings and celestial beings. May all celestial beings be able to come forward, and may they be able to rejoice of these good merits. And having rejoiced of these good merits, may all divine beings and celestial beings be well and happy. May they be able to develop and enhance their divine qualities further and further. And having enhanced their divine qualities, may they extend, may they provide, may they guide all the people to the happiness. May they be protected with the blessings of all divine beings, and may divine beings also be able to attain final goal of Nibbana. Wishing that we recite these stanzas together. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga maiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu sasanam. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga maiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga maiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu tvam sada. I wish you all the best, good luck and good health. Teruvan Saranai. Good night.